Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jeffrey Epstein Show. I'm your host, Bobbycapucci, and this is Daily Drop number 182. We're going to talk about Amanda Thirsk tonight. And Amanda Thirsk was very close to Prince Andrew. She was his private secretary. And according to rumors, she was the one that talked Prince Andrew into giving the interview. She gave her okay. She thought it would be a good idea. And then Prince Andrew proceeded with the interview with the BBC, and we all know how that turned out. So obviously, Amanda Thirsk lost the prince's ear after this all occurred, and she was no longer his trusted go-to associate. Now, Amanda Thirsk, in her defense, she was probably thinking, well, I believe my boss isn't a scumbag. I believe that Prince Andrew isn't lying. So let's get him up there in front of the media. Let's put him up there in front of Emily Maitlis, and let's let him draw a line underneath all of this and be done with it. That was probably what Thirsk's thought pattern was when it came to all of this, right? You want to believe in your friend. You want to believe your boss. She didn't know that it was going to be such a disaster when he got up there. I mean, she probably should have. We all know that Prince Andrew isn't the brightest guy in the world, right? Like I call him the George W. Bush of the Windsor family. This guy is, he's a bumbling fool. So Thirsk should have never had him in the first place get up there in front of Maitlis. That was a bad idea, right? But in her mind, she thought she was doing him a favor. She thought that Andrew would get up there, he would kill the interview, and they'd be able to put all of this behind them and focus on, stealing from whatever charities they're busy grifting from. Look, all kidding aside, right? Amanda Thirsk made a big mistake letting Prince Andrew do this interview. And my guess is if the Queen was younger, or if his brother was involved in the decision making, that he would have never done this interview in the first place. But Thirsk thought it was a good idea. She ran it. She let him do the interview, and she ended up leaving Buckingham Palace afterwards. Well, now it comes down that she's also leaving her role at Pitch Palace. So, in my opinion, honestly, we should give Amanda Thirsk a round of applause for the bad advice she gave Prince Andrew and for her ill-placed faith in this man to tell the truth. Because if he didn't give this interview, there wouldn't be nowhere near the uproar about him and what he allegedly has done, right? It would have just been like it has been for the last, decade or so. People would talk about it a little bit, but it wouldn't get the play that it's getting now. So I think we should applaud Amanda Thirsk, and I think that, unintentionally, she did a real good thing here for the survivors with having Prince Andrew be exposed in that interview. So this article is from Sky.com, and the author is Mark Kleinman. And the headline is, Prince Andrew's former aide quits pitch business role. Amanda Thirsk is leaving the newly reformed Pitch Connect to take up a role in the private sector, Sky News learns. The Duke of York's former private secretary has resigned as chief executive of his flagship business venture 3 months after reaching a settlement to leave Buckingham Palace. And I bet you she got a nice little chunk of change when she left Buckingham Palace. I highly doubt she resigned. I'm sure they forced her out because of the interview. Somebody had to get their head chopped off, as the saying goes. You bring the bad news to the king or the queen, and a lot of times the messenger ends up with their head chopped off. So you knew after this interview was such a disaster that somebody was going to be on the chopping block, and it happened to be Amanda Thirsk. But it looks like she got herself a little piece of change when she left, and that probably had to do something to do with her contract or a buyout would be my guess. I haven't seen the particulars of what occurred or her contract or anything like that, but my guess would be there was some sort of buyout. Sky News has learned that Amanda Thirsk has resigned from Pitch at Palace to take up an undisclosed role in the private sector. And now we all know Prince Andrew has stepped back from Pitch Palace. So I'm shocked, honestly, that it's taken this long for her to leave her role in the company as well, considering Andy was her benefactor, right? He was her go-to guy. Pitch Palace was his deal. And underneath him, I'm sure she had a prominent role within the operation. Her departure will come ahead of an attempt to relaunch the project under the name Pitch Connect, reflecting its newfound distance from the royal household. Well, yeah, that makes sense. They're rebranding, and with her being so close to the Prince of Punk asses, when you rebrand something the way they are, the motivation behind that is to get away from Prince Andrew. And unfortunately for Amanda Thirsk, her ties to Prince Andrew, which served her well for so many years, are now a black eye. It's now tarnishing her whole entire resume with the fact that she was so close to Prince Andrew, and especially here with them rebranding, there's no way that she was going to be kept around. The initiative, which connects startup companies to mentors and investors around the world, is expected to recruit a new chief executive in the coming weeks. Sources said that Ms. Thirsk had informed Pitch's network of entrepreneurs about her resignation on Tuesday. It's interesting. I would like to see how this all occurred, the genesis of it. Was she forced out? Was it people telling her that, it's probably a good idea for you to resign? Or was it completely her own idea saying, you know what, I'm going to step back? With them rebranding, I'm leaning towards her being forced out, even if they don't come out and say that. A lot of times you'll see them let people keep their dignity and say that they resigned, when in reality it was hostile and they were forced. One startup founder who was notified of the news described it as a disappointment because of her excellent work, but not a surprise. Yeah, again, the writing's on the wall. If there's rebranding coming, and the rebranding is specifically because of your guy, your number one person in the company, your benefactor, well, you have to think that when the new broom comes in, it's going to sweep clean. It says it has helped nearly 1,000 startups since being set up in 2014. Pitch also claims to have created almost 6,000 jobs since its inception and generated more than 1.1 billion pounds of new economic activity. Well, that's good, right? That's nice. Companies producing. But with Prince Andrew being around, Prince Andrew, being part of it going forward, there is no way anyone was going to do business with them, right? So with him stepping down, Pitch Palace, they're saying to themselves, the rebranding must occur. So for them, they're trying to get a brand new start here. And Thirsk being part of the old regime and part of the old stench, she had to go. However, it has faced an uncertain future since Prince Andrew's disastrous BBC interview last autumn about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, the disgraced financier and convicted pedophile who was found dead in his American jail cell in August. A number of Pitch's corporate partners, including Barclays, KPMG, and Standard Chartered, ended their relationships with the project as the furor over the Duke's interview grew. That's kind of ridiculous for Barclays, right? When Jess Staley, the head of Barclays, is facing fire of his own that has to do with Jeffrey Epstein and his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. So Barclays, as usual, showing themselves to be hypocrites. Now, I'm on record saying that there's zero chance that Jess Staley is in his position when this year ends, and I still believe that. And I think the whole entire situation with the outbreak of COVID-19 is going to hasten his departure. Because Jess Staley definitely has questions to answer for. And for Barclays to pull their support from Pitch Palace over Andrew, but still continue to keep Jess Staley employed, is hypocrisy at the highest levels. Most of the directors of Pitch subsequently resigned, leaving only Miss Thirsk and businessman Johan Elizik on its board. A slate of new directors is also expected to be recruited in the short term as Pitch Connect attempts to get off the ground. I don't think Johan Elizik has much time left in the company either. Yeah, he's one of the only board members that remained with Amanda Thirsk, and with Thirsk being shown the door, you have to think that Johan's time is not long. In January, the venture secured a new home close to Buckingham Palace, taking a lease on a space at a WeWork building in London's Victoria. The move underlined the determination of those behind the initiative to continue operating according to people close to it. And, you can't knock that. You can't knock the rest of the people that were involved, right? The other investors and stuff. They had a lucrative business here. They had something that was, proved profitable. It obviously helped a few startup companies. So now with them revamping and moving away from Prince Andrew, you have to think that some of the clients that might have been on the fence, or people that were going to work with them that might have been on the fence, see this as a proactive step, and they might continue to work with Pitch Palace. Look, that's what they're hoping, right? That's what the rebranding is about. And you'll see that a lot of times in business. You'll see corporations get sold and they're able to rehab their image after they're sold, or they fire executives who were not doing the right thing. It is unclear where future events in London will be staged, with the most recent one having been held at a luxury London hotel. A former banker, Miss Thirsk, worked at Buckingham Palace for Prince Andrew from 2004 until last month, when she reached a settlement to terminate her role as his private secretary. Miss Thirsk had played a key role in shaping his work after he was forced to step down as the UK trade envoy in 2011. His decision to give up the title of Special Representative for Trade and Investments followed earlier controversies involving Mr. Epstein. Yeah, look, she was his go-to point person to get things moving in the right direction after 2011, and she was his trusted confidant all the way up until the BBC interview. So you could see why Prince Andrew trusted her, and you can understand why she had faith in Andrew, you would guess, right? If she's working for this man, she has faith that he hasn't done anything wrong, at least in her mind. That's what she's thinking. So why would she not want to put him in that interview, right? So again, while Thirsk made a bad decision and showed bad judgment by not knowing her client, by not knowing the person she's supposed to be representing well enough to know that he couldn't handle this sort of interview, the blame lands squarely on Andrew's shoulders. He shouldn't have been in the position to have to answer these questions in this interview. He shouldn't have been messing around with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell and taking part in his trafficking ring. So if you want to blame somebody, Prince of Punk Asses, blame yourself. While Miss Thirsk was partly blamed for the Duke's decision to conduct his disastrous November interview with the BBC, allies of the now former royal aide praised her efforts to carve out a role for him that also benefited the UK economy. In January, she reached an agreement about a 5-figure legal settlement with Buckingham Palace. So, again, she caught some kind of payment on the back door as she was exiting the building, and good for her, right? A little bit of some bonus money for her. So now she's going to be back in the private sector, but unfortunately for her, her work here with Andrew is going to tarnish her going forward. There's no doubt about that. So not only is her work going to be tarnished, the fact that she gave him this advice to take this interview is going to hurt her as well moving forward. Now, for us, we're happy as hell that she gave him this bad advice, right? People that are covering this case, that was perfect. Putting Andrew on blast like that, getting him out there, good stuff. Definitely good stuff. And Thirsk should definitely be applauded by us. I know it comes at great loss to her, but sorry, you're a casualty of war in this, I guess, Miss Thirsk. Enjoy your little bit of a settlement there, and enjoy looking for a new job, because your boy Prince Andrew certainly wasn't somebody to put your faith in, huh? How did that end up working out for you? So the question also becomes, does Miss Thirsk know anything about Prince Andrew's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein? What can she add to it? Maybe somebody should contact her over in the English press and talk to her about what maybe she knows about what's going on. Because, again, no stone can be left unturned here, folks. Everything has to be investigated. All trees have to be looked into. All bushes have to be searched. Everything has to be checked out in this case, because there are so many moving parts, so many different people involved. It's impossible, and just bad investigative work to not check every person involved in this. And Amanda Thirsk is certainly somebody that would be an interesting interview. So, again, another part of the Jeffrey Epstein case, another, just a little corner of the case, right? This Amanda Thirsk situation. But when all is said and done, she is going to prove to be a key player in this, in my opinion. The fact that she was so integral in getting Prince Andrew to do that interview is going to come back as one of the most pivotal moments in when this case turned towards the favor of the survivors, because I believe that interview with Emily Maitlis was the beginning of the end for all of these people involved with Jeffrey Epstein's trafficking ring. All right, everybody, if you'd like to contact me, you could do that at bobbycapucci@protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI@protonmail.com. You can also find me on Twitter at BOBBY_CAPUCCI. All right, folks, I will see you later on, and I will talk to you all later. Tomorrow will be our usual schedule, daily drop, morning update. Until then, folks,